Lally-ho, and welcome to yet another episode of Sharlayan Dropouts. It's a good Final Fantasy XIV podcast, and it's for bad academics. And I am your host, Archon Victor Hunter. And with me, as always, is Honorary Archon Nadia Oxford. How the hell are you, Nadia?
Not too bad. It's another Monday. Here we are. The heat has broken for at least a day, and I can think again for at least a day.
Oh, good. Not too sweltering over there in the Axe of the Blood God, Sharlayan Dropouts, Northeast Coast Annex. Though we did discuss
Yes,
that you are
we
not on any
are
sort of coast.
we are okay for now. I was just actually, as we were talking, I looked down at the warnings on the side of my computer, the little corner, and we have more wildfire smoke coming to us. So that's a nice new experience.
Boy,
I love it. I hate it.
that gets you guys out there, huh?
Yeah, it's bad. As a child, I never remembered having to deal with firewood smoke. Like it just wasn't a
No.
thing that happened because the forest didn't burn
Yeah.
early in the summer.
Yeah. I
Didn't happen.
I of course grew up in Canada's only desert, and we didn't get wildfires until we didn't have a wildfire season until about
Right.
15 years ago.
Good times.
And now it's just every summer.
Yeah, you have fire, you have flood. It's very biblical.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Pretty awesome. Good times.
Oh, but we're not here to talk about the end times. That was
Yeah.
an expansion ago. We're here to talk about Dawntrail. It is July is the 1 year anniversary of Dawntrail, and we thought we'd do a little. We'd give it its flowers a little. It's time for a assessment of where we're at 1 year later, a look back on what Dawntrail did, what it's still doing, and what we can look forward to it doing for just a few more patches. But before we do that, hey, you're listening to Sharlayan Dropouts. We record every other Monday right here, twitch.tv/bloodgodpod, and our episodes go up on your podcatchers 2 days later on Wednesday. If you want ad-free versions, head on over to patreon.com/bloodgodpod, where you can subscribe at the $5 level for ad-free episodes of Sharlayan Dropouts, Axe of the Blood God, plus our paid weekly newsletter. Also, the $1 level, even if you can chip in $1, that's tipping your barista, basically.
Yeah.
That'll get you into our Discord, which, for all you Final Fantasy XIV listeners out there, is so much added value, because that gets you the usual Axe of the Blood God stuff on the Discord, the discussion, the participation in the community, but also our Final Fantasy XIV community is absolutely stellar. We've usually got at least 2 community nights a week going on over there, so if you're looking for people to play the game with, look no further. Nadia, there's some changes going on to the newsletter.
Yes, I will be writing a Patreon post quite soon, but the general gist is nothing that much is changing just on our end. We're leaving MailChimp and just I believe we'll be putting the newsletter just up on the Patreon feed for everyone $5 and above to enjoy, because frankly, MailChimp is terrible.
Yeah,
I don't recommend it.
cool.
I didn't even know that Kat was paying for it. I said it is not worth the money because God bless our developer behind the scene, Matt Means, but Chimp just wants you. I put something in a field, let's say words in a field where they're supposed to go, and
Okay.
it tells me, would you like AI to help you write this better? No, I'd like to do my job like I've been doing for the past 20 fucking years. Thank you very much. I know how to word. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
So it's just that's all there is to it. Basically, just look at our Patreon from now on for the newsletter. If you're part of the Patreon, you'll get an automatic notification anyway. This way, I'll actually have more control over how things go. It won't look as fancy, maybe, but it'll still have my screwed up words. And really, isn't that what we're all here for?
Yeah, words don't need to look fancy.
Words need to look like words.
Yeah.
When I was a kid,
words look like words. Groovy. Well, let's talk a little bit general news around the 14 world. We've got a few big things. This will affect neither of us, but we of course have the end of Windows 10 support. As Microsoft is determined to force everyone into a new ecosystem. They are ending all kinds of services. Even my dad called me the other day, and he was like, "What's going on with this? I keep getting notifications that my computer is not going to work." And I keep telling him, "I assure you, Father, the end of support for Windows 10, you will be just fine. You will still be able to have a functioning computer. You just won't be buying into all of the new stuff that Microsoft wants you to be a part of.
All the cloud-based AI garbage."
Yeah, it all sucks and it's miserable, and we don't need to support it.
No.
Microsoft, for many, many reasons.
Yeah, they're not without sins to pick from.
Yeah. On happier news, the new Primals album, Dark Decades, has been released.
Hell yeah, I have it, or at least part of it. I don't buy all of it. I buy like the songs that I like, and then I just kind of go back and buy the others. Yeah, we got finally our Howling Blade theme. And what's kind of funny about this is that this is a song that it's one of the raid songs with Cruiserweight. I think it's the final tier. And the Howling Blade is a fan favorite because the song is such a banger. And what they did with this release is that they let Jason Charles Miller really take the vocals so that you can actually kind of hear what's being said, which is nice. I like it when songs have understandable lyrics.
Yeah.
And
I in general, I think I've listened to the album, and I think vocals could have been bumped up a little bit more. I understand why they keep them a little lower in the mix during the raid itself, because it's more there to set a tone, and they don't want lyrics to be distracting. But I think when you do these arrangements, you can feature those vocalists a little bit more.
A little bit, yeah. But we do get like a good Jason Charles Miller here, and it's actually interesting because I don't know if it was at this point, it was the weekend before last when AEW Wrestling had their All In event, and hyper turbo mega nerd Kenny Omega came out with basically a Final Fantasy XIV theme. He has his own theme song composed by Soken, which uses the actual chords of Ultima, the beginning. And he had Jason Charles Miller up there singing amongst these robed people who are totally not Asians. And yeah, if you haven't seen it, Victor, you really should. It's pretty epic, but it's a nice little kind of bit of synergy there where, well, yeah, Jason Charles Miller just the other day singing on stage, and here he is again singing a wrestling theme.
Yeah.
Fantasy wrestling, but yes.
Yeah. I'm going to take umbrage. So I like to, if I don't know what I'm going to do with an evening, I like to hop on Retro Crush. Do you know about Retro Crush?
It sounds familiar, but I don't.
This is there's mostly free, but there is also a premium subscription if you want it. It's a lot of free old anime.
Oh,
and it's all officially licensed, and it's ad supported, but I know you call Kenny Omega turbo nerd. At this
maybe
at this point in time, You do not have to be particularly nerdy to be into Final Fantasy XIV. This is a pretty
No. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm just talking about in the context of wrestling.
Sure. Okay, yes.
You don't see that kind of reference.
Compared to other wrestlers, yeah.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah, I mean there are other wrestlers who acknowledge Final Fantasy, and Zelda's like a popular shout, but not 14 specifically.
Because I hopped on Retro Crush last night because I wanted to fall asleep to some City Hunter.
Nice.
And I'll give it this. Retro Crush will sometimes do guest curated playlists of their anime selection, and I'll give him this. Guest editor Kenny Omega recommends Street Fighter 2.
Makes sense.
Totally. Hajime no Ippo. Great pick. Ninja Scroll.
Oh, of course it's fucking Ninja Scroll. Ninja Scroll, if you're Canadian, Ninja Scroll is like the anime that Teletoon got when it first came out, and everyone lost their minds because someone had a boob on the screen.
Yeah. That might as well be a Canadian heritage moment. Was the night that Teletoon broadcast Ninja Scroll, and it changed all of our lives.
Everyone was talking about it at work the next day. We're all working at Canada's Wonderland, sitting in the supply room. Holy shit, we saw his mouth went around her whole boob.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. Get CBC on the phone. This has got to be a heritage moment.
Astro Boy is on here.
That's a good classic. He's a Mega Man fan.
Yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh!
Kind of basic, but
Interesting. Basic
classic.
Pick. And Yowamushi Pedal, which is pretty fun. That is a cycling anime.
Oh, isn't that cool? I love the way anime just does that.
It's also a pretty big show as far as, here we go, everyone take a drink. It is a big show for having stage adaptations. It along with like Prince of Tennis is one of those shows that followed in the footsteps of Sakura Wars, and has a pretty important component of it being the stage shows,
right?
Which is very fun to watch people on stage pretending to be on bikes.
Wow, that's some work to be done.
Yeah,
in a theater setting.
Yeah. So yeah, I got no problem with Kenny Omega. He could branch out into some weirder stuff, is all I'm saying. If you really want to get me into wrestling, then give me a let's get our other bingo card spot in here. Give me a Final Fantasy Dimensions based theme song by Naoshi Mizuta.
Now that's a cut.
Yeah. Of course, Naoshi Mizuta. Probably, maybe my favorite Final Fantasy composer.
No, really?
Responsible for Dimensions 11, 13, 2. He's my guy. But yeah, the album's great. I'm liking it a lot. I don't know if it's going to be on a regular rotation. I think, it's interesting that it's all the cruiserweight classes plus Be My Honey, which is not exactly my preferred version of that song.
No, it's very much like when Soken did what was the Fa La 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 song with the fairy Titania. It sounds a lot like that, where it's more of a joke than anything.
It doesn't sound fun energy. It doesn't sound enough like a joke to me, because they've transposed it to a place that is singable for their vocal range, but
Right.
it's just not a good arrangement. It's not a, which is too bad, because I think there is a world where, especially that chorus comes in and it's just like a
Yeah.
driving, like there's just kick drum and power chords, and it would work for a rock arrangement. I just don't think this was the one. Also, it could have just used a female vocalist.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
Same
But
with, I think, back to the drawing board. I would have liked with a female vocalist as well. I know the song is singing about her and not her singing, but it's one of those, because when there is that little bit where the female vocals come in about 3/4 of the way through the song, and I think that works for this kind of like trap rap.
rap. What about do you like Give It All? Which is I think also on the I don't know if the version I have sounds kind of like the version they already released, but I don't
Uh,
know if it's live.
yeah. It is a new arrangement. I I I just, yeah. I don't know. It's okay. Yeah. That's this is my bold review for the Primals Dark Decades. It's okay.
You sound like my dad whenever I get take him out to see any movie. It's all right. And I always say that's the back of the box quote for whatever movie. Yeah, so far, like I think definitely the best one is the Howling Blades theme,
Yeah, yeah.
Unleashed. Just great energy. I would certainly say by that. The disco theme, I had no idea had lyrics. Nobody knew any idea had lyrics, but apparently it has
Oh
lyrics.
yeah, oh yeah. It's absolutely got lyrics.
Okay, I didn't hear them.
It's had those Daft Punk vocoder vocals in the background the whole time.
Mm,
Yeah, they're absolutely there. They have released lyric sheets for most of these
yes.
songs now over on the developer blog. So if you've been trying to figure out what they're saying because the vocals are so low in the mix, now's the time. Yeah, no, Ride the Rhythm. I like the lyrics a lot. It's got a bunch of fun little references to old disco songs in it.
Yeah.
I mean, much like the names of Dancing Green's attacks themselves. Um,
That's a fun fight. He's a silly guy.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I can see a world where I warm up to this album a little bit more. But
Right.
I I liked these theme songs just fine. They're not all my favorites.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I'm a hater of Howling Blades theme song. I think.
Have you listened to the new? You've listened to the new one with Jason Charles Miller,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Don't like it?
I don't love it. It's not quite my style. I find
Ah,
it a little cheesy.
that's the fun of it. Of course, it's supposed to be cheesy. It's a wrestling story.
Yeah, but not cheesy in the way that I think it could stick the landing.
I see.
But it's fine. Yeah, overall, perfectly fine album. If you like these songs, you'll like this album. I think, except
Yeah.
I don't know, some of them, like I said, maybe that's not true because I don't think the rock arrangements work all that great for some of them. Whatever. I don't want to be a downer. It's fine.
There's a few good songs on there.
Yeah, there's some good songs on
But
there.
like I said, like I just like the Howling Blade song because it just got a lot of energy. I like songs that use animal imagery. I just can't help it.
Of course you
And
do.
this,
Yeah.
it's just fun to sing along to. Like the and I run and I howl with the moon. Like just it's just a fun ass song.
I think there is a very, very good piano arrangement of Be My Honey by, I believe, Cilia Music,
Hmm.
that I think is fantastic. Um,
I might look that up.
yeah, yeah, go check it out. It's very, very good. Also in the news, we've got a couple new optional items in the cash shop. One of them is to be expected. We get the Crystarium Rebels attire, which is Alize's Shadowbringers outfit for $12 US. This follows the Alphino Shadowbringers outfit we got a little while back. I very rarely pick any of these up.
Me neither.
But outside of NPC cosplay, we also get the belt leather attire, which is interesting. There are two different sets for this. One's a little more masculine, one's a little more feminine, with some cropped pants and a backless top. They're both for equipable by both genders, but these are two different sets, and they are both $18 American each.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, and
for glam.
That doesn't even cover the beret and the gloves, which are
really
$6 each.
Wow.
Yeah. The cash shop is usually where we see some of the Korean exclusives a few months after they've been brought out to Korea. They like to give Korean players a sort of a timed exclusives for some of these glams for a little bit. This is so expensive.
Is this basically just a sign of the times? Like, video games are more expensive now. Nintendo broke everyone's cherry.
I don't know. Is this inflation? Is this just them seeing what they can get away with? Because I mean, there's some $30-ish mounts and things like that, but I think this is the most expensive a glam set has been, especially for one that's split up into two sets and then with separate accessories.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what gets me. It's like, okay, if a glam set's going to be expensive, what are you going to do? But if you're splitting it up, I see what you're doing, and it doesn't make me happy.
Yeah. I mean, by my back of the napkin math, just real quick, that's $24 for a glam set, not including the other variant. That's just too much. That's just too much.
That's a lot of money.
Especially for us Canadians with our little exchange rate. Go easy on us.
Yeah. Have mercy. So if you think it's too expensive, don't buy it. That's the best way to get your message across.
Yeah. And also, complaining is a great way to get your message across, because
FF14 fans are very good at complaining.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
But also, this is one of those things where, they try to justify the cash shop in a lot of ways, and I think some of them are perfectly reasonable.
Right.
Especially early on in 14's life. I don't know if we need to be doing this. This seems a little silly.
Like, that's the price you would usually have. You would think of, like, as you said, like a 4-seater mount based on some legacy game.
Yeah. There's, I mean, I get if you want to, like the FanFest exclusive items that they'll release as a collection for people who can't attend FanFest. Like, dropping $30 is not. I'm not saying don't drop $30 on something, but just be aware of what you're getting. And I understand that it's fashion, and that's a tough thing to turn down when you're going for a certain look. There are some unique pieces in here that I can imagine people could complete an ensemble, but also I'm not opposed to letting a community manager know that it's a little bit absurd. Be nice about it. Be kind.
Nice. Be polite.
Yeah. But
you don't need to insult people, everyone, when you're arguing against them. You don't have to insult people.
No, and you don't have to accuse anyone
no,
of anything.
Please stop accusing.
You can just be like, hey, this is pretty pricey for what you're getting. My thoughts.
I agree with you.
That's pretty much it for news, but sort of dovetailing into that, we've got the Moogle Treasure Trove going on from July 8th until 7.3 comes out, which is probably going to be beginning of the second week of August. What have you been doing in-game, Nadia? What have you been up to? Have you been Moogle Treasure Troving?
I have indeed been Moogle treasure troving, mostly in the Gold Saucer. I've been doing a little bit of the dungeon runs, and I actually had a really hilarious moment where all four of us, got shoved into Amdapor Keep, and we are all veterans who've been playing this game for obviously a long time, and we're not there in a keep very often, so all of us forgot the mechanics. Our tank, when we were fighting the demon wall, they forgot which way it swings, and they went flying like off the. I had never seen a character fly that far in a long, long time, and I was losing it. And I think it happened again, and the tank died, just got overwhelmed or something, and they were just like, "Can I cancel my sub?" Because it was kind of ridiculous. Also had a moment recently where we were playing Anyway the Wind Blows in the Gold Saucer, which is when you stand on the platform and Typhon picks an area and blows you off, and basically it's purely luck based.
Yeah.
I actually got through one session, which actually gets you like 10 tombstones. It's ridiculous. But what tends to happen is everyone picks a spot to step on, and everyone just kind of waits there for what happens next.
Yeah.
And everyone passes together or dies together. So there have been instances where we all, everybody, and I mean, let's say like dozens of people wipe all at once. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I do have mathematically the best possible location for that memorized, because that's just.
Of course you do.
That's just what I do.
Do you know the slices right off by heart, like where everything falls?
No, because that's truly there's too many variations of that.
So that's too random.
Well, it's too skill based. Because Anyway the Wind Blows is completely random, but just statistically, there is one spot that is less likely to get hit by a few of the permutations. But the fact that you can't move once it starts resolving itself just means it's purely luck. Whereas with Slices Right, it does actually involve reaction time and adapting. There are a few moments like when, oh my God, the dog.
Oh, I know the dog.
What's
Diego. I call him Diego, but I don't think this is his name. Daigoro, something with a D.
I used to know this from FF10. Oh, why?
Jimbo's doggy.
Yeah, why is it escaping my brain? Anyway, when the dog comes out, that is random.
That tends to be where I lose.
When the 3-card Monty or the cup and ball stuff comes out, that is also random. So you're still at the whims of RNG, but there are enough skill-based parts of it that you can't really just pick a spot and survive.
My friend Zaf wants to know what the most advantageous spot is for wind blows.
Oh, so on the south side of the dais, there's the markings on the stage. There's a tiny little sliver. You can honestly just look up a diagram and people will have it. But there's a spot in one of the little curly cues of the ornamentation that if you just kind of hang out right in there, it's just statistically less likely to be hit by an AoE.
But not impossible.
Not impossible by any means, but it's your best chance of survival. What have I been doing? I'm catching up on my PvP. I've been that's honestly kind of been my main tome acquisition is doing my front lines every day. I'm so close to getting a bunch of those front lines mounts. It's killing me.
Oh, I should do that. Yeah, I need to do that. Those frontline mounts are pretty awesome.
I mean, it's taken me 10 years to get
Oh.
to where I am now. So
I'll put it on the backlog.
yeah, I don't know how much you're into PvP or like front lines, but it might take you a while.
Yeah.
Especially because it's contingent on victories. And
Oh,
sometimes
right. Yeah, I'm not good at those.
Well, it's also just depends on what group you end up with. I mean, it's
True.
it's more like you just kind of have a 33.3% chance of victory anytime you hop into front lines, more than anything else.
Fair.
But yeah, been doing lots of that. Also hopping into some rival wings. I still don't understand how rival wings really works, but I feel like I'm still an asset to the team. I do okay.
You're doing all right.
Most of the time.
You're doing okay.
There's too much MOBA going on in it.
Call Eric.
Well, I have recommended it to him before, but I mean, Crystalline Conflict also has its fair share of MOBA techniques involved, and it is still built around some MOBA ideas, but Rival Wings is full on there. I feel like with Crystalline Conflict they distilled it a little more into something a little bit more digestible to people who aren't familiar with that kind of game. But Rival Wings is just full on MOBA.
Yeah.
And then I've just been doing what are the I can't what are the
We're both old and tired.
I'm so tired, Nadia. This is my Saturday. For people who don't know, theater schedules, we get one day off a week, and then it's Tuesday to Sunday. So I record these on my one day off, and we are a month and a half into this show, and I am so tired.
You're doing great.
So I apologize if that's the kind of energy I'm bringing to the show, but I promise I love being here.
We all love being here. We're just tired. We're tired individuals, tired human beings.
And I'm happy to see new people in the chat. That's very exciting.
That
thank
is
you
nice.
all.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks all so much for being here. I promise I'm looking at the chat whenever I get a chance. So, Beast Tribes, what are they called now? Allied Societies. Allied
Societies. That's right. Yeah, I actually have to get caught up on that because I haven't done the Dawntrail ones yet, and the Hawk Toy ones are coming very soon.
Did you call them the Hawk Toy?
Yes, I did.
That's
Hawk Toy. That's pretty rude. I'm sorry.
Yak Hui.
Yak Hui.
You're thinking of Hawk Tua.
I'm thinking of Hawk Toy. Yeah. Yokui. I'm not even sure if I did that on purpose or not, but yeah, they're next, and I haven't done the Mamuja ones yet. And here's a really good story, so I should get to that. I really wish they'd bring back Medzet Tia, because there used to be like storylines involving this idiot, and I loved him. Just this stupid ginger cat boy. He was trying to get laid, and he just kept failing.
Wasn't that just for Stormblood?
No, he was in Stormblood most prominently, but he did show up in another allied society. Like once you get all of this, you know how it is, and you get like it all done, you get that like final quest with everyone. He's been around. He's been in a couple of them.
Okay.
And his thing is still like, hey, every time he impresses a woman, and they're like, oh, you're not so bad. He's like, no, you don't understand. I have to lay all the women because I'm going to be a noon. And they just like, you stupid idiot, you're a creep, and they leave him. And he's like, I don't know what I did wrong. I love him. So
well, to be fair, in his culture, that's what Nuns do.
That's what Nuns do, but I guess not everyone's into it. I guess there's your traditional societies and your less traditional societies.
Also, quick 11 update because this will be relevant in the future. Because we do have the next leg of the 24-man Alliance raids coming up. We've got Sandoria, the second walk, coming up in 7.3. I am continuing my streams of FF11 right here on this channel. If you're listening to this as we're recording live, it'll be tomorrow on Tuesday. If you're listening to this on Wednesday, when this goes up on the podcatchers, it was yesterday. If you're listening any later than that, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But yes.
Are you able to fit that around your theater? Like, don't you work on Tuesdays?
I do. It's an evening show, just an evening show on Tuesdays. So.
Nice.
Yeah, it works out well. It's one of the things I like about the theater schedule is that I can do stuff in the mornings most of the time, unless it's a 2-show day. It's how I did the when we did the base game and Rise of the Zillart last fall. That was my mornings before I'd go do a show, and now is no different as we make our way through Chains of Promathia, which is super fun. We haven't had as much group content to do as a collective, as Rise of the Zillart lends itself really well to a lot of needing a lot of people to just survive. But Chains is and was always meant to be. It's a very story-heavy expansion,
right.
And we're getting a lot of very exciting story drops about Prish and what her whole deal is. So I highly recommend it.
What's the deal with Prish?
Yeah, if you're interested in what's actually going on in the 14 Alliance raids, I think Chains of Promathia is a really good expansion to hop in for. So if you're interested in 11, it's a great time to hop in. You don't need to be caught up, but we're having a good time playing through it. And again, over on the Discord, $1 a month gets you access, and you can make your way through the Final Fantasy that even people who say they're fans of Final Fantasy tend to ignore. For whatever reason,
11.
I don't know why. Baffling. Absolutely baffling.
Children these days. Where are parents?
Speaking of people who need parents, it's Dawntrail 1 year later.
Did Dawntrail get lost in a department store looking for his mom?
No, freaking Wuk Lamat and
oh right, okay, you're being more direct about it.
And all her pals.
Yeah, they all kind of they have a dad. Two dads. Yeah, they have two dads.
We're talking about Aaronville and what happens to those two dads and there's
some sad things.
The overarching themes of Dawntrail about parental responsibility and what you pass on and what you leave behind and grief. So
grief is a big one in this one.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a year since Dawntrail came out. We are on the cusp of getting the 7.3 patch, which is probably going to wrap up most of the main story for Dawntrail. So I think it's a good time to just sort of reflect on what Dawntrail gave us, especially in terms of story. We might talk about the types of content, capital C content that it provided us with. I gotta figure out. I hate calling it content.
I know.
Trials, dungeons, gameplay styles, modes of engagement. Even engagement.
Modes of engagement.
Engagement is even a word that has been sullied by marketing. I hate it.
I hate everything.
Modes of interactivity. Nadia.
There we go.
It's Dawntrail. What do you want to talk about?
Okay, let's start first of all, maybe overall, how do we feel about the game? I feel like,
Sure.
or the expansion, I feel like generally people have been a little bit negative looking back on it, but
Sure.
I still like a lot of what it does, and I think there's criticisms to be had. I think that Mike Williams was right when he said they showed us too much of Solution
Mm.
9
Mm-hmm.
before the game came out, and I think
Yeah.
uh, of course, Endwalker had that huge mind blowing twist in the middle of the game where you're on the moon and level like what was it, like 86 or something, 83, and you're like, what's gonna happen next? We thought this map was gonna be the last one, and I think they wanted to go for that twist again, and it would have been a lot more effective if they had
Well,
just kind of
we
not previewed it.
yes. Well, that's the thing is when we went to the moon. Uh, oh, you mean like we thought that the moon would have been
We
moved to
we,
the
we thought the
last point?
moon was gonna be map 6, basically.
Yes, or well, yeah, map 5 probably because we
Right.
knew they were gonna try to pull Tempest again. But we did also have two shots of Elpis um,
The
that
world unsundered, yeah.
that they had shown us as well, which
Oh, okay. See, I wasn't there for that reveal, I think.
oh, I think you were. I think you just forgot because
I just forgot.
we pointed out that it was very Asian or ancient architecture. Um,
Very ancient coded.
yeah,
Yes.
we didn't have context for it, but we knew that it was happening somewhere. And yes, going to the
There's
moon too early was a huge twist. Um,
Ravana Kira says something. I like the story. It's very much the beginning of a new arc. There are obviously growing pains, but it was very good. And I'm very excited to try 7.3. Yeah.
yeah,
I one thing I was there for the reveal at FanFest for the trailer, and the immediate like vibe that I got from that reveal was we are starting again. We are calming things down a bit. We are kind of on vacation, but not really. We are not going to a world-ending event right now. We have to build up to that all over again because this is a story. So it kind of like struck me, okay, maybe this game, this expansion is going to be, it's not going to have the huge thrills and chills of, you know, Endwalker and especially Shadowbringers, but that's okay. I think people tend to
which
get a little bit impatient with stories.
which I think it still did, just not at a it's a power scaling problem, right? Like
Right.
it's we they can't all be world-ending cataclysms,
They
but
can't.
but
They just
this
can't.
one was still a
It
world-ending
was still.
cataclysm.
No, you're absolutely right. But
Uh,
I feel like they weren't portraying that at the start of this like advertising campaign.
well, I don't know. I just think it's a it was a weird expectation thing because I think the stakes for Dawntrail are really good, and
I think so too.
they're a the scope in scope at least they're an escalation of the stakes of Endwalker's patches, which
Right.
maybe is what diminishes it a little bit because we did just have a story about another shard that wanted to sacrifice our shard so that it could continue. Um,
Right. Good point.
and we are retreading that, but with the support of an expansion behind it, so that we have the emotional connections for characters like Wuk Lamat and Sphene and Erenville and his mom, and like it it is still uh, it is still a really solid story with good stakes that make sense for the world and are inversions of story beats we've had before that have worked but
Yes.
twisted in different ways. Like I say, it that entire final zone is a really smart inversion of what we did in Ultima Thule, where Ultima Thule we are building the world out of Dynamis as we go. And in living memory, we are erasing this world as we
Mhm.
go. Um,
I
we're
also like, sorry to interrupt, just
Yeah, you go
something that
ahead.
you brought up in one of our last episodes that I think is really underappreciated about this expansion is that Dawntrail is a story about a civilization, a shard, that made a success out of their civilization because of a calamity.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
harnessed the power of that calamity to have a thriving civilization that obviously has its problems, but they're futuristic as hell.
yeah. Which is, you know, one of the things I loved about the ancients pre Endwalker is that everything we were told about Amarot made it sound kind of perfect. It was a utopia. The name
Yes.
Amarot is taken from utopia. All the names of, Anamnesis, Anator, and all of those things are from utopia, which is
Mhm.
as old a piece of science fiction, speculative fiction as you can get. Um, but that all we knew about the fall of Amarot was that it was working until everyone got very, very scared. And we didn't know
Yeah.
what they were scared of. There was the keening, there was a sound, and society collapsed. And and that's great. That felt great. That felt like a as a standalone story, it was nice to not have the fall of a civilization be their hubris.
Yes, I agree.
It's and
It
then
was
of
something
course,
beyond their control.
yeah, it then gets explained in Endwalker. Um, but yeah, I think I don't know where I was gonna go. I've forgotten. This is why I needed
That's
my
okay.
coffee. But speak more. No, yeah, speak on that. Speak. Talk amongst yourselves.
I think another thing that Dawntrail doesn't really get enough credit for is that a lot of its story, and I guess this is true for every expansion,
I want to
excuse
bring
me,
up
is
NK Dude brings up. I mean, in a way, it was the hubris of Hermes. Yes, that's what I mean. Is that pre Endwalker we didn't have that context for the fall of Amarot, and they
yeah.
hadn't written that. So as a self-contained Shadowbringers, I loved that we didn't know much about this civilization, and it looked like it was working perfectly.
And then it just kind of fell apart. And
Yeah,
honestly, that's terrifying. The idea
yeah.
that there was a civilization that was highly, highly, basically they were the ancients from Final Fantasy VII, etc. And
Uh,
they had their
mm,
Genova.
Nadia,
Yeah.
they're more like the Zillart and the Kulu from Final Fantasy XI.
Oh, pardon me. I'm sorry. But I still see the analogs to the to Aerith's people.
Yeah,
But either way, they were supposed to be like one thing that surprised me when I went to Amarot is that the people were kind. They were looked terrifying
yeah,
with these huge bird mask people or whatever, but they,
totally.
they were nice to you.
Yeah,
And the meeting with Hythlodaeus, my old new friend, oh, that broke my heart.
yeah,
That was just so perfect. And so it's like, okay, so they're obviously they're a little bit up their own ass because they're gods essentially, but
yeah,
they're good people. They want to do right. What happened here? And the idea that they had this power and it was brought down by something that wasn't them,
yeah,
that's a very terrifying power.
yeah, yeah. It makes it more tragic than a morality tale. Um,
Yes.
uh, but then, of course, bringing it back to Alexandria and Dawntrail, uh, it's it does end up sort of becoming another tale about a hubristic, old, ancient culture. Well, not even ancient, but um, they're
Just the story about the basically them fighting over resources, the electrope,
yeah,
and yeah, It's
Yeah,
extremely relatable, I suppose, if you want to put it that way.
totally. It's a tale as old as time ish, but it works well because it's also it is playing off of so many established conventions of 14. Like we know about the elemental alignments of the calamities and the shards. So taking that to a logical next step is over aspecting one of these shards with one of these elements. And it's good. That's a great setup. I'm so glad they played on that because up to this point we had seen, it's easy to play into the light and the darkness on opposite ends of the spectrum of shards, but to find ways to work with that within a specific element, I think is really smart. Um,
Yeah. I also want to kind of talk about just like the emotional
yeah,
impact of the story
yeah.
because friend of the show, Michael Hyam, who has been on, I don't know if he's been on Dropouts, but he has been on Blood God many
Hmm.
times, and we have talked about Dawntrail and its story in the past. And that last map, Living Memory, it's a really, really hard map to go through if you've had someone die.
Yeah,
And I really don't to apologize for invoking the name of Turfling, but I think that the one interesting thing that J.K. Rowling did with her universe that was truly unique and original was the invention of the Thestral, which is a skeleton horse you can only see if you have been in the vicinity of someone who has died. If you have seen someone die, you can see these horses, which aren't bad. They're not evil horses. They're just their own creature.
hmm,
So I kind of feel like that was my thestral because I was going through an extremely bad time where my mom was very close to death. Unfortunately, she's really kind of up and down since she had an accident a few years back.
right.
And that was a bad time. That was a very bad time. So the scene with Erinville and Kakuya, uh, where he says to her, "I'll take you wherever I go," I lost it. Like that whole ending scene, I just cried through the whole thing.
Yeah,
I just couldn't contain it. It was therapy.
yeah. It's fantastic. I think the monologue that Grahatia gives when you're floating in the canal, about what you would do for another day with a person, is fantastic. Um, yeah, I I don't know.
I
The second act, the Alexandria stuff of Dawntrail, I think is just really, 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 really solid.
I think a lot of people don't like that part. I think a lot of people think that it came up too fast. And I like jarring stuff like that, to be honest with you. I still think that one of my favorite parts of this game was going through Vanguard, which has like just that incredible driving electric guitar as you swoop through that opening movie of like the mechanical hounds and this mechanical soldiers running after you.
Hmm.
Just incredible. Um, so I knew like it was kind of sudden, but also holy shit. And I do like the fact that you cross this barrier and you find people have been trapped there for
Yeah,
20 years, quote unquote, but they have adapted.
yeah,
And I think that spills into another extremely interesting story point, which, we've had a whole episode about the wrestling arc. But the character of Howling Blade, uh, he lives in this society where his parents got trapped there, and they had him, I suppose, when they were there. And they're, I think, is Hesero. They're the cat people who
hmm,
don't really interact with technology the way that everyone else does. So he was forbidden from wearing what's it called, the thing that's on your
the
head and
regulator.
the regulator. He was forbidden from wearing a regulator, so he can't come back to life if he is, in an accident. Of course, this is an extremely dangerous world where people are hunting beasts and stuff to keep the peace, and they have to have multiple lives to do it. Um, he doesn't have that because he doesn't have that regulator. His parents, it's against their religion. So he has these jobs that are just mundane and terrible, and he feels trapped because he's not allowed to have any sort of thrill. That's not what they'll give him because they
Hmm.
can't. He doesn't have that safety.
Hmm.
That's why he wrestles because it's the only way he can kind of get that thrill of breaking free and having that power and doing what he wants to do and living like everybody else in the way that they live and not taking those risks that he
Yeah,
was never allowed to take. That's an extremely interesting story point. Just being left out of an immortal society.
It's it's one of the strengths and the biggest problems I have with Dawntrail is that when you get into the Alexandrian arc, it's just solid science fiction writing. Like
Yeah.
it's we introduce a premise, a science fiction premise. Hey, what if the world was like this? And then
Yeah.
what would happen to all of the people who live in it? Um, and they explore a lot of different corners of that. And where that disconnect for me is that, well, now that's all of Aetheris. Now all of the world of Final Fantasy XIV is going to reckon with the existence of Solution 9, and we're no stranger to introducing ancient advanced technology.
Right, of course.
But there are limitations to that. Allagan relics can only be found by people who are looking for Allagan relics. Like, people don't just have, I mean, adventurers and warriors of light aside, people aren't just wandering around with Allagan tech
Right.
in the canon of the world of 14. And now, going forward, we have to reckon with the existence of this entirely different
Right.
world and all of these technologies, and that there was a lot of back and forth when people were like, when Solution 9 was first shown, and people being like, that's not my Final Fantasy. I don't want to say
I've
that.
heard that's in 7. I've heard that's in 7.
Exactly. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
Right.
that within the storytelling potential, we did a good job of sort of keeping the sci-fi concepts introduced during Endwalker, like with Meteon and all of the different planets she had visited. Those are,
And the tech from the Loporrits, they are pretty high tech species.
yeah, but even then, the Loporrit stuff is an extension of the ancients, which is,
That's true.
again, we're discovering some old tech that has existed and has been influencing our world in the background for a long time. But like the different planets in the Dead Ends, like they all have, here's science fiction concept number 32.
Terminator 2.
Yeah, like
Judgment
here's
Day. Literally, Judgment
totally.
Day.
But they're self-contained because they are distant stars.
God, that's one of the dungeons you can do like for tomestones, and I'm just like, I'm not running this miserable ass dungeon anymore.
Yeah.
But what's funny is that like when the guy presses the red button, everyone's like poggers and they start clapping. Gotta do that.
Great. Yeah, we have fundamentally changed the makeup of the world with the introduction of Solution 9 and integrating Solution 9 into what is our world
Right.
map. Which
But do they have toilets? Do we finally have toilets?
I don't think so.
That's the final step. Once we have toilets, it's too sci-fi for me.
Yeah. But more about like the characters and the emotional core, and I think what Dawntrail does really, really, really well is, I'm not going to talk about the reception of Wuk Lamat. I think it's not helpful and not interesting.
I agree.
Because I like Wuk Lamat a lot, and I think
So do I.
the
I
purpose.
think she's a good character.
Yeah, I don't love some of how she's written, and I adore I adore Wuk Lamat when she butts up against other characters. I think Wuk Lamat solo, we do spend a lot of alone time with Wuk Lamat and her sort of musing about things, and her arc. I think her arc is more compelling to me than Wuk Lamat as a standalone character, because we do see a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed Wuk Lamat who is joining cultures and uniting peoples, celebrating our differences, and also celebrating what makes us the same in a very utopian, multiculturalist lens, which I found a little saccharine by the midpoint of, or by the end of the first act or of the first part. And then I realized, oh, that's an incredible setup and an incredible juxtaposition to what we are going to be introduced to with Solution 9. For everything I just said about Solution 9 as me not loving it from a world building perspective going forward, I love Solution 9 for a storytelling and character building function within Dawntrail, because then
It has some good, yeah.
Then bright-eyed, bushy-tailed Wuk Lamat gets confronted with the idea that some cultures might not be compatible on a fundamental level.
Yes.
And that is an incredibly difficult story to tell, and an incredibly difficult thing for a character to reckon with, and an incredibly difficult a difficult story to weave morally.
I know what you mean. The last patch 7.2, it's been a while, so I don't remember the story too well, but I remember Wuk Lamat thinking or acting like everything will turn out okay if we just do this. And we have this ceremony to honor the queen's memory, and it fucks everything up.
Yeah.
And she was just trying to do the right thing, but sometimes the right thing still fucks everything up. And I like the fact that she has to deal with that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Even like realizing the Wuk Lamat being confronted. I don't even want to get into like patch stuff and raid stuff, because I think the 7.0 of it all is a genuinely really good arc, because we get a Wuk Lamat that has been celebrating peace and unity and is confronted with the idea that war is the only way forward, which is really hard and heartbreaking, and it is something that I think they could have played in more. If I had a criticism, it would be that I would have liked to see Wuk Lamat struggle with being a foil to Sphene even more, because I think the introduction of Sphene is incredible as foils to each other. And I'm not going to accuse anyone of anything, but I just think it's interesting that Stormblood, an expansion led by Lys and with antagonists in Fordola and Yotsuyu, because let's face it, Xenos is hardly an antagonist in Stormblood. He's there to kick things off and end them, but he is not a character with development or narrative importance.
He likes to fight.
He
loves to fight.
Yeah. The stars of the show are Fordola and Yotsuyu, because they show two different sides of colonialism and imperialism.
Right.
I'm just saying that it's interesting that the two expansions with predominantly female leads and antagonists happen to be the ones that people say are the worst parts of 14.
Yeah, I actually asked my friends who had been in the game for years, and I said, did people bitch about Stormblood as much as they bitch about Dawntrail? And like, oh yeah. Lys was just not popular.
Yeah.
And I played Stormblood beginning, not really my favorite, but I feel like it really picks up at the step, and then it just flies in those point patches. Like, that's some of the best gaming I've ever played.
Oh, I don't know. I think Stormblood's great. I think it's a really great meditation on how imperialism can traumatize people in many different ways.
I thought
And
Yusuyu was an extremely interesting character. Like once you got to know her, like
yeah,
she was a nothing to me when I first started, but by the time like you get to that fight with her and as in the bunny form, like it just ooh, that was so good.
sure, yeah. Um, but I think having Dawntrail ultimately be about two queens, two, and they are specifically female rulers of their nations, um, and Sphene having a king counterpart, um, and setting her up like you know the turn is coming from a mile away that Sphene is going to be our ultimate antagonist.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but the fact that she is still set up as the queen of reason to Zoralja's king of resolve, um, and discovering that even the reason behind if the reason behind the resolve is still operating from a I don't even want to say corrupt place because she is just taking a queen's duty to a logical conclusion, without because as we discover she is an AI, um, without the adaptability of a human touch and without the ability for human empathy, um, which isn't even true. She does have the capacity for empathy. She's just overridden by the need to rule as queen and protect her people. She has empathy, but she just necessarily has to have more empathy for her subjects.
Yes.
Um,
That's she doesn't want to kill you, but she will.
yeah. Um, against Wuk Lamat's uh, over empathetic self. Um,
Hmm.
but Wuk Lamat is still. I mean, Wuk Lamat is still a warrior, but is I don't know. I don't know. There, it's, talk about it for a bit. What are your thoughts on these? Because I love them. I think they worked out incredibly well. And it
I think you're right.
it bothers me that people don't think that was a fantastic turn and a I don't know. As soon as Sphene shows up, it recontextualizes Wuk Lamat's entire arc. You understand why it had to happen. You understand why Wuk Lamat had to be this character she was. Um,
I think a lot of people just resistant to change, and a lot of people were disappointed. I think that number one, some felt like the Warrior of Light took the side, took like a I'm tired too, Victor. I'm sorry. Took like
it's fine.
a side role next to next to Queen Sphene and Wuk Lamat and
Good.
everything, and I'm
Who
fine with
cares?
that.
Good. Who gives a
Go
shit?
play World of Warcraft. Like you're going to be a nobody in that game. That's the
Yeah.
whole point. Like the
Yeah.
how would it look? In fact, when the game was first announced, were people saying, "Oh, this is going to be a game about we're going to be colonialists and like invade this land," and it's like, no, you're there as an observer, as a
Yeah.
judge, as someone to help. You were invited to be there. You you are supposed to be there. You were invited. You're fine. And then they say, "Oh well, the Scions weren't there." Like there was someone I talked to who had huge problems with like they're like Alize would never ever let like living memory be a thing. She would go there and storm up and down and like kill, just turn everything off. And it's like, well, Alize's not there.
Yeah. It's a
I'm
good
sorry,
thing that didn't happen because that would be boring.
right? Right?
Yeah.
So
Uh,
it's okay to meet new people, and they're most of them are very well written.
yeah, we got to highlight Kryl and Aaronville, who are two characters
I
who
love Aaronville.
deserved more
God,
writing. I I
I agree.
I think it's honestly too bad that we even had to drag the other Scions along with us in the first place because it set weird expectations. Um,
Yeah, the thing with like fan cred and uh Oriange, it's like, I know you do just having like a gay honeymoon. I appreciate it and I love you, but stop fucking with my game. I'm trying to be a king here.
Well, all right. Uh, uh, yeah, I think I ultimately liked the role that they played with boy, we are tired.
We
Kona.
certainly are. Kona, yeah. I love Kona.
Um, I think that actually was a really good use of the Scions. And then, bringing everybody in so that they could do the 8-person trial is also fine. Like, whatever, go for it. I don't care.
Yeah.
But having expectation that certain characters need to be featured, or that because we've liked a character for a long time, they need to have a certain amount of spotlight, is anathema to good storytelling.
I agree.
It's just bad. Um, and
It is. No, I agree. Like, yes, Alize would have reacted a different way, but she's not there.
yeah,
Leave,
yeah,
Alize has been away for a very long point for some very long like patches of time, and we've dealt with it. I love Alize completely. Like, she's one of my favorites. But come on, let her have a life. I like the fact that the Scions are off doing other things, like helping to restore Garlemald, because it makes them seem like actual people living in an
well,
actual world where there are politics.
and Alphino and Alize are there for a huge chunk of it. Like, they are
Yeah,
your traveling companions for all of the freaking Yogg-Toroth chapter. Like, they're there.
they,
Basil
they're there.
brings up
They're having a good time.
the fact that we're going through a One Piece story arc is a feature, not a bug, and I agree 100%. Yeah.
I'm not a One Piece fan, so I don't know if that's true or not, but I trust you guys on that one.
Yes. Absolutely. Um, yeah.
Because Eric said it was Hunter x Hunter.
Well, he's wrong. But and I truly will never forgive Kat, and maybe this will come up at some point in time. But I've said this before, and I will say it to her face. When it comes to 14, she does not know what she's talking about. Because when Dawntrail was first announced, and we saw the trailer and the City of Gold stuff, and the going to an Aor's or Final Fantasy 14 Central America, she scoffed and rolled her eyes and said, like, like City of Gold, and wrote it off as like this is going to be cultural appropriation, and this is going to be a big racist colonialist tale of.
Yeah, I heard that a lot, not just from her, but from a lot of other people.
Yeah. And
but it wasn't.
One of these days when she plays Dawntrail, I'm going to force her to apologize on record.
I was kind of mad about that take, to be honest. I thought that was a little bit dismissive of this game,
and counterproductive, because
and like, yeah, like there was still there's like a lot of people from that area in the real world who are like, wow, this is cool, I'm gonna have fun with this, you know.
Overwhelmingly, this was when Twitter was still usable, but threads would just be full of people from Central and South America saying, I can't believe I got to see this represented, or I saw a lot of Venezuelans specifically talking about how, like, folklore and cryptids and stuff from their area showing up as notorious monsters or hunt marks or whatever. And
yeah,
I
so
never
cool.
thought I would see this stuff. And I've talked about it on the show a million times. Ogopogo being in Final Fantasy IV was huge for me as an indigenous man who grew up where Ogopogo is from, and seeing that represented and feeling that, like Norse mythology or like whatever else RPGs and video games like to crib from, feeling that my folklore was also good enough to be represented, the quote unquote good enough, was super exciting. So like, yeah, the Thavnairs of the world and the
That was great.
Yakturals of the world. The volume 2 of the FF14 cookbook is coming out soon, and I cannot wait because it's going to be focused on a lot of Dawntrail stuff, and seeing the cuisine from Dawntrail, like having an entire section devoted to understanding a culture through its cuisine, that's one of the most powerful, like, it's telling a story of empathy through cultural exchange. And if there's ever a time where we have needed that more than ever, it's now. And I will say this is something that the left is guilty of as well. I don't want to get too political here.
I totally agree.
Don't want to get too political here. But it feels like we are scared of cultural exchange, even on the left, even on the far left.
Absolutely.
I think being able to celebrate that is hugely important, and absolutely a story that needs to be told.
As someone who is like from a minority, Jewish minority, like there's a lot that you could get into that I'd be like, oh man, that is so cool. Yeah, of course, come over here, I'll help you. I think the trick is just don't fuck with people's sacred artifacts. Like, don't treat them like toys or stories. Like, but stuff like food is very safe. I live in Toronto, and of course, if you don't want to eat other people's food in Toronto, you're just going to starve to death. But they love the fact that you're like some white rando chick coming in and like, hey, you want Jamaican food? You want some goat? Fuck yeah. Of course I want to feed you. Goat's good, by the way. Goat's so good.
I don't know. I'm not... Okay. Broadly speaking, yes, don't fuck with people's sacred artifacts. Broadly speaking.
Yes.
But there was a point in time, like, I mean, we fuck with sacred Christian artifacts all the time. Like, sacred iconography from Abrahamic religions gets fucked with
like
constantly
things like
in games.
What I meant was like, a very basic example is like headdresses. Almost like every native tribe will tell you, these are sacred, these are given out to certain people. Maybe don't wear them at sporting events. That's kind of what I mean.
Sure. Yes. In your everyday, day-to-day, maybe there are times and places for everything. But also, a little sacrilege is important. It's about punching.
Spoken like a true Quebecois who's not from Quebec.
I mean, it's about whether you're punching up or punching down. Ultimately,
exactly. That's a big thing. Yeah.
Because a little blasphemy is sometimes the most powerful story that can be told about recontextualizing and reshaping people's perception of what is and isn't sacred and what should and shouldn't be sacred.
Sacrement.
So, yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. Like, I do think in an artistic context, there's more conversation to be had in that stratum.
Yes, there is. That is an incredibly complex conversation to be had, and going back to Dawntrail and people's reactions to it, I feel like people did not give this team the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely. And because after, as been said in the chat, after Thavnair, I thought they did a great job with Thavnair. Like, when I do those quests, it's like, damn, I want this curry that I'm delivering.
Yeah, I mean, I know there were a lot of people who I think were working on articles, and pieces consulting, people of Indian heritage or people from India and their thoughts on Endwalker and Thavnair and how it's treated. And I keep looking every once in a while, but I don't really see those articles come up, and I wonder if it's just because it was fine. I wonder if it's just because there wasn't anything to write about because they did a perfectly good job. And
We also have to think about the fact that they used like Indian voice actors. They used voice actors of like Latin descent here.
sure.
You're employing the people directly who benefit. Like one of the best things you could do to be an ally is to employ the people who are generally minorities and have them play the characters that are respectful representations of what they're doing. Like, is it always going to be perfect? Maybe not, but you can improve upon it, and having someone employed is it's a good look
Yeah,
for you, you know?
at the very least, even if your casting isn't perfect, or if the person isn't, exactly from the right region, or whatever, it is still a very powerful gesture of good faith,
Hmm.
and understanding to make your best efforts in those areas. Um,
Yeah, so I think they did a good job, a great job with the
yeah.
representation. I don't think there's really very much criticism. If there is, of course, correct me, but I think everything was done at the very least in very good faith.
Yeah. Um, yeah. And I think I don't know. We talk about it all the time, but you love seeing Jewish stuff in video games. I love
Oh
seeing
yeah.
indigenous stuff in video games. It's just it's just nice and fun, and especially when you know that someone behind the scenes put money in the right hands, or
Yeah.
made sure that the research was done, and the like, it's just, I don't
But yeah.
know. Yeah, that was just one part of Dawntrail controversy, and I was painting with a broad brush. I know, because it is an incredibly delicate subject and a sensitive subject. But as an artist, speaking broadly, I think the fear was unwarranted, and
Yeah.
I think we need more games like Dawntrail. Um, in fact, we've seen it with Expedition 33. Finally, a game for French people. Um,
They actually I can't remember the name of the character. Shell has a move called Shadowbringer.
very cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, we've gone on about an episode's length. I feel like what I want to do is play through Dawntrail again.
Hmm.
I do want to do a new game plus. I might even just. I was talking the other day about just rolling a new character, and I'd like to play through the video game Final Fantasy 14 all over again.
That's
Um,
dedication.
but I think Dawntrail deserves another playthrough, and it deserves. People were very reactionary to it, and I think it's a game that narratively is going to hold up really, really, really well over time.
I think so. I
Um,
think people will come back and appreciate the story.
yeah, it confronts uh, it, it confronts a lot of things on a lot of levels. It is about um, women in positions of power with pressures on them to do certain things. It is a game about Central and South American, Latin American culture, which is incredibly rare in
Yeah, that's true.
not just JRPGs, but video games in general. It's a game about grief that handles it in incredibly deft and nuanced ways, that I think a lot of people don't appreciate unless they've experienced that grief. Um, and and it does it in such a tidy, speculative, like science fiction bow, that I think 14 has been doing really well since Endwalker. Is it's we are firmly in sci-fi fantasy, and not just because we've introduced a very like futuristic tech culture, but they are pulling these narratives from tried and true science fiction forms and
Absolutely.
formats. Um, and I think it works really well for contained narratives. And time will tell if it also works well for setting up a 10-year long arc for an MMO. Because
Right.
I don't think
Yeah.
we can say whether that is going to pay off well or
Do you
not.
think it's going to be another 10 years, or just we're just going to wrap it up? Like, because
No, that's what they've said. They have their 10-year plan. They have
oh,
up to yeah. Oh yeah, when Dawntrail came out, all of the marketing from or any interviews with Yoshi P was about like this is the start of our next 10 years. And they have story beats planned out for up to 10.0.
I admire them as a writer who thinks she has story beats, and then turns out, oh, my story went another direction. We'll see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the fun of writing.
we will see what happens. I mean, they are known to dramatically shift the arc of a story at the very last minute. They did exactly
Nah.
that with Shadowbringers. They did that with Endwalker and adapting to COVID. Um, we'll see. Best laid plans of mice and other guys and all that. But the one thing that I think is missing from current Final Fantasy XIV storytelling is there was once a very strong but focused foundation of lore that was built with the original lore writer Iwao for 1.0, and then with Banri Oda for the 1.1s and the 2.0. And with Koji Fox and the lore and writing team, they built a really strong foundation of here's Eorzea, here's the surrounding places, and explorations of those things could be really focused, and a little bit more granular, and it felt like there were little payoffs like that for the next 10 years, basically.
Right.
We have, outside of stuff that is, on the world map that we haven't visited yet, things like Airslint or the northern parts of Authard, or name drops like Corvos that, oh, well,
Yeah.
you are obviously planting this so that you have a branch to swing on a few years down the road when you want to take us to Corvos. We're
Right.
running out of a lot of those things. At least as far as like proper nouns go,
Right.
like, yeah, we'll go to Maricidia, because that's a big
Yeah.
one. But we're running out of those things, which is why stuff like the shards are going to become more and more important as time goes on, because those are entire worlds that they don't have to
Yeah.
tell us anything about until we get to them.
That's true.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky. They have to plant a lot of seeds, but I think it's why when you're someone who pays attention to the metaphysics of how the shards work and how Aether works and the flows of Aether and the calamities and things like that, it's why stuff like Dawntrail can still have a lot of payoff when you start talking about aspected Aether, or the migration of the Lalafell to the southern
Hmm.
islands and then to the ninth shard and things like that. There are
That was
still
pretty cool.
bits that pay off, but they're requiring more and more deeper esoteric knowledge of how the world of 14 works to have payoffs. I think there's going to be a struggle there.
Guess we'll see how it happens. I'm looking forward to the future anyway. Like, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to 7.3, looking forward to where the story goes, and the setup for the next patch or expansion even.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never not been optimistic about the future of 14.
That's a good way to live.
Yeah, I'm always along for the ride. I'm always having a good time. I'm always enjoying myself. Um, and when I'm not, that's why they invented role play. That's why they invented the even stuff like the tabletop RPG. If we're not going to go to certain places that I would like to go to, I'll write it so that my table can go there. Write
There you
fan
go.
fiction. You know, it's all
That's a
there.
good solution, actually. If you're not
Yeah.
happy with the way something's gone, write fan fiction about
Yeah.
it and be mad in your little way.
Totally. Yeah. I don't know. Final thoughts
Thanks for
on
the
where we're
subscription.
at with Dawntrail.
Well, first, thanks to Still Loading Pod. Hi, great to see you here. Thank you for coming. And as I just said, I'm generally excited. First of all, we have the wrestling arc. I'm having a great time with that. Still got a little bit ways to go there. Um, I'm interested to see the story because there's certain things I notice when I fly through Heritage Found, like just that big pit of electrical energy, like stuff like that can be explained in a second. And maybe it won't be, maybe it will be, maybe it'll come up in another expansion or patch, maybe it won't, probably won't. But I just love details like that. I think maybe I could see why some Final Fantasy IX fans were a little bit disappointed because maybe they didn't get the kind of nostalgia that they were hoping for. But I'm not a huge Final Fantasy IX fan. At the very least, I don't have nostalgia for it. So I'm sorry. I do understand. I kind of hoped that the bit with Otis would have been like more like the sword fight in Final Fantasy IX, but it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I think blatant nostalgia plays are my least favorite kind of reference. Um,
I agree. But although I did love Four's references in the patches after Endwalker, those were incredible.
but
But
again,
Zero was also really hot.
but again, that was stuff that all made sense within, like it. They didn't. Zero wasn't named Cecil or Rosa or whatever. Like we had the bosses that had the names of the four fiends, and we had Golbez and Zeromus, but they were playing very different roles, and they were
Mhm.
essentially trying to act out the plot of Final Fantasy IX.
It was so
Um,
good. I love that shit. I love what they did with Golbez, and it kind of pissed off I didn't have my reveal where he would take off the mask and it's like, oh my god, it's Daddy. But they still kind of played it in a way that I thought was okay. I wasn't expecting that, and that was very clever.
well, you did kind of with the guy who now was Golbez.
Yeah,
Um,
but it wasn't the reveal I was thinking of, like I was hoping for even, and that's
I,
okay.
I don't know. You got a Highlander here with long flowing white hair. I mean, well,
Yes, but
that's
he had to take the mask off.
sure.
And
Okay.
like I am hot.
All right.
Like when you first play After Years, and you're like, this can't be Golbez, and it totally is Golbez.
Yeah, but he doesn't take anything off. He doesn't do a little seductive
No,
striptease.
no, maybe he should have.
Maybe he should have. Yeah. I think the way that they incorporated 9 and even some 6 and 11 stuff into Dawntrail is the way I like it done. Now that's not I should say echoes of Vana'diel aside. I just mean throughout the world and the lore of Yogg-Turaul and Shock-Turaul, I think was incorporated well.
He did.
Echoes of Vana'diel is another story. It's doing my least favorite thing, but it's still sticking the landing. So whatever, I can't hate it. But yeah, I don't know. We're on the cusp of the end of the main story arc of Dawntrail. We're going to have a lot of things explained to us in mere weeks. And of course, we're all looking forward to it. I hope you are also looking forward to it. And if you'd like to look forward to it with us, you should join us on our Discord. $1 a month over at patreon.com/bloodgodpod. This has been Sharlayan Dropouts. We're here every other Monday, streaming right here on Twitch, or 2 days later on Wednesday in your podcatcher. Again, if you'd like ad-free versions, patreon.com/bloodgodpod. With that, we'll see you in 2 weeks. That may very well put us into some 7.3 territory. We'll see. We'll be getting a release date very, very soon.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be able to talk about it next episode. But until then, for Nadia and myself, we do not know, and we cannot know. Bye.